Hi again then guys, and so we've got another special project replica build for you today, and this time it's for the Subaru Impreza STi-CS400 as tuned by Cosworth. This is a pretty crazy car. It's obviously a very limited edition model, just under 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, crazy fast, basically Subaru's equivalent of the Mitsubishi FQ400. Now, on the game, I've chosen to replicate this car on the standard Impreza STi. This is not the Spec C model. It may have been more obvious to use the Spec C model, but visually that car is not as close to the Cosworth as this one is. The Cosworth, for instance, has the extra driving lights that you can see here in the front bumper, whereas the Spec C model does not. Obviously, you could use the Spec C if you want, but I've chosen to use the standard STi, as I just said. So first of all, as always, I'll show you what I've done to get the visual look of the car, then we'll go to the garage for the mechanical setup, and finally out to the track to see how it performs. So visually for this replica, the bodywork isn't of the same importance as the paint colour in this case. The only real body upgrade that you do to this car, or that I've done to this car, is the flat floor conversion, which just makes it look a bit more aggressive, gives you a slightly higher PP and obviously more grip. Plus it's not a top speed tune, so the flat floor doesn't really matter in terms of top end performance. As far as the rims, we've gone for the standard size because they're already big enough. And for the particular rim, we've gone for these GT 12-spoke rims, which are actually very accurate to the real car's wheels. I haven't fitted any additional meters, but obviously that's down to personal preference. As far as the colour, we've gone for a metallic colour, and the particular colour is meteorite silver, and this colour actually comes from the Aston Martin DB9, the premium version DB9. For the rims, we've also gone for metallic, but for the rims we have gone for gun grey metallic. Now, I wasn't able to actually find what car that came from. Shouldn't be too difficult to find a similar grey though, but that's just the particular one that I've gone for, and I've gone for the same colour for the brakes also. So that's it for the visual look of the car. Relatively simple setup really, because it's quite an understated car. So now let's go over to the garage for the more important thing, which is the tuning. So for the mechanical setup of this car, obviously this is a more street based tune, so we've gone for sport soft tyres. You don't have to go for those, obviously. For suspension, we've got the ride height on 120, front and rear. Springs we've increased up to 6 and 5. Dampers and anti-roll to 4. Camber pretty low on 1 because this car already handles really well. Neutral toe, as always. For the gearbox, you want an auto setting of 162. And for the individual gears, we've gone for 3925, 2725, 2025, 1575, 1285, and 1095 with a final drive of 3.7. For the diff, we've got the initial torque 40 on the back, 20 on the front, maximum acceleration bias front and rear, and the lowest braking bias front and rear. Torque split of 40-60 on this one. As far as power, I did not give this an oil change as far as I remember. And you want your stage 3 engine tune to bring up the red line. Likewise with the sports computer. We've got the sports cat as well, sports intake tuning, and then reduce the power down to 94.1% to bring us exactly to the real horsepower of the CS400, which is of course 395 brake horsepower. You don't want any of the weight loss, because this particular version actually weighs more than the standard STi. So we've added a 35 kilo ballast, which we've put all the way to the back, to bring up to the, again, exact weight of the real car, which is 1,505 kilos. And incidentally, it actually sits really well at 525 pp. So not only is it an accurate replica, but it's actually PP specific and competitive as well. So that's it for the mechanical setup of this car. So now let's finally go out to the track to see how it performs. Now, as with all of my more road-based replicas, this car is not designed to necessarily win races or set lap records. It's designed for two primary things. One, to be accurate to the real car, both visually and mechanically, but also to be as fun to drive as possible. And it accomplishes both of those things. It is mechanically and visually accurate to the car, and it is fun to drive. Now, handling wise, unsurprisingly, it's very good, even without racing tyres. The Subaru Impreza is of course known for its handling, and this car is no different. It handles very well, but at the same time it's quite loose to drive, which is what I wanted to achieve. I wanted it to be fun, the kind of car that you can throw through corners and have a lot of fun with. You can drift it pretty easily as well, and overall it's a great car to drive. I'm very proud of this Replica. It's a relatively simple one compared to some of the others that I've done, but still, the overall package does turn out to be a very fun car to drive, both visually and for its pure driving style and performance. So for those of you guys who do choose to fit this Replica to your Impreza, I hope you find it fun to drive, and if you do plan on using it for trying to beat lap times or even racing with, I hope you find it competitive. So that's it for this build. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.